the HomeTech Podcast for Friday, August 16th from Sarasota, Florida. I'm Seth Johnson.
From Reynoldsburg, Ohio, I'm TJ Huddleston.
And my name's Gavin. I have a 3D printing problem, and I'm from Pickering, Ontario.
Welcome, Gavin,
to the 3D printer show.
You're in a safe space here. This is the HomeTech Podcast, a podcast all about home technology, home automation, home printing, all this good stuff. So welcome.
Thank you.
Oh, man. It is August already. I just realized reading that date. Did anybody know that? Did anybody tell you guys it was August already?
Yeah, I think I knew because everybody's talking about going back to school, and I'm like, that sucks for you guys.
Yeah, first day of school.
Not for the parents, though, right?
Monday. No, it's great.
Good for the parents.
Yeah,
Wait, who goes back to school in August?
America.
Yeah, first day of school is Monday.
When do they end school? When do they finish school?
Like May.
Oh, they finish earlier than usual, too.
When do you guys go to school?
It's been many years since I don't even know. Like, I see kids rolling up to school at 10 o'clock now. I'm like, and they're driving to school. I walk to school. All these kids are driving to school now. I don't even know what it's like at school anymore.
Yeah.
I can't remember. I remember I used to get up at really early in the morning to walk half an hour
up the hill in the snow. You had snow back then because there's no climate change.
Well, of course. I mean, it's Canada.
Uphill both ways because we didn't walk the same route home. You know,
get shanked that way.
And yeah, it was a 40-minute walk. But no, if you had a 50-minute walk, the bus, you could take the bus for free. But no, I had a 44-minute walk.
Man, the struggles.
Kids these days don't know what we went through.
Now they just get bullied online.
I know. Like for us bulliers, it's so much easier now. Like we just send messages. Like back then I had to put in work. I had to pick out somebody, groom them for some time, you know, like... And we could
bunch of wedgies you had to do.
Come up with good jokes.
You had to pull your back doing all those wedgies, yeah.
You know, but these bullies even have it easier nowadays. Like these kids don't know the struggles. For the record, I was never a bully.
It sounds like you were a bully.
It sounds like you really.
I'm pretty positive you were after this.
I was never a bully. I was a lover, not a fighter.
Oh, I guess I should know because they're at work we're trying to get all the CEDIA stuff wrapped up because CEDIA is right around the corner, right? CEDIA is the first. Gosh. Yeah, you guys going? No, we said we are.
No, I'm too poor this year.
No, yeah, same here. Yeah,
I don't know. Like we have an interview tonight with Alan Chow from Chowmain, and we were talking to him. I think before or after. I don't know. Like I'm still waiting on like the next big thing to like what's the next big shoe to drop at CEDIA? I feel like everything is kind of matured. There's explorations into other markets.
What do you think it would be?
I don't know.
The easy one is AI. That's the easy choice right now.
Oh, I mean, it's a buzzword, sure.
Yeah, that's. I wouldn't be surprised if you see it all over the place this year.
I mean, obviously ADI is going to buy CEDIA, so
something. Yeah, I mean AI. There's already a backlash on AI now. Though, like I think consumers are just tired of hearing it. And I saw something today that was like, if you say AI, people don't like you.
Yeah,
know? Like brands, you need
like
to stay
crypto
away from.
And NFTs. I don't care anymore.
Yeah, it just seemed to be a way for a bunch of like rich people to move their stock prices a little bit when they were like, oh, you got to talk about AI. But now it doesn't. Like we have a story. We're not really going to cover it, but like we talked about Amazon charging $10. Well, Apple's coming in. They're like, Apple's got to be more, right? Because it's Apple and they can just charge more. So now they're saying that's going to be $20 a month for the Apple one. It's going to be like an add-on.
I don't know if it was $20 more or if they were saying that $20 is going to include some other services as well. Like it's a bundled package for $20. So that's how I see Apple doing it. I mean, they have Apple TV, Apple Fitness, Apple Music, Apple whatever else, right? They could just bundle it all in and give you some AI.
They have Siri right there, right? Like Siri's got to have some intelligence before it could be artificially done. Like I don't know, like Siri's so bad, like it's got to be good, but like are you going to have to pay $20 to get the good Siri, or are you going to get the bad Siri unless you pay the $20?
And that's the problem right there that I see. I don't want to buy like I can say it's a $2,000 Canadian phone and then find out that the good stuff that I got this phone for now have a subscription tied to it. If they go down that road, I might have to look at other phones or just go back to an old flip Nokia phone.
Just go to the flip phone. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know that the AI stuff, that takes a lot of money to run those servers. Like it's clearly an expensive thing to do right now. And I just don't know. Unless Siri is substantially smarter than it is now, I don't see $20 a month being they'd have to make something really, really good out of putting all these pieces of AI or large language models together. One of the things people predicted early on when they were talking about this was like, what if you could just tell your phone like, hey, schedule an appointment at 5 p.m. and then turn on the lights, like just list off some things. And then like Siri would go to your contacts, pull out who you needed. Like it would know like what applications to go to pull all this information together and then put that into the scheduled event, invite everybody, send an email to those people, like all that stuff could happen in the background. Like that would be cool, but I don't know that they're there yet. And I don't know that it seems like a pipe dream, but it could be potentially like one of the things they get to one day.
One day.
It's definitely not anytime soon.
I think we're still too early. Yeah, I think we're still too early. I remember Google showing off a few years ago, having your phone call and make reservations at a restaurant for you. Did that ever become?
No, there was so much backlash on it that no one, they like pulled that whole project back and kind of like, now it'll probably come back in being something that happens. But yeah, they were like, oh, this is creepy and gross. And there was backlash over it and they didn't do it. So.
Yeah,
and they had a big Google event today about the Pixel phones that are coming out. So they look nice.
I saw the Pixel Fold. It looked pretty nice.
They got a Pixel Watch.
I think I'm almost ready for a folding phone. I think it'd be a good idea. But I don't know if I'm douchey enough though.
If you fold it, then it just gets thicker and bigger.
I always feel like the douchebags have the folding phones. If you have a folding phone and you're listening to this, I'm sorry.
You're such
it's just something I've noticed.
Especially if you're a patron, you're best.
Oh man, someone just canceled their Patreon payment.
Speaking of CEDIA, Gavin and TJ won't be there, but I'm going to try and still do the HomeTech Happy Hour. So if you are interested in showing up, we'll have some food there, some beers there at the Rock Bottom Brewery. Right around the corner from the convention center, 6 o'clock to 9 p.m. on, Friday, the 6th, I believe is what it is. So I'll have more details posted on the website probably by the week's end when I publish this show over at HomeTech.fm/happy hour and advertise it out a couple different ways. Like if you're a patron, I'll send everybody a patron email. I was going to our patron page to see what I sent last year, and it's the last message I sent last year as well. So it'll just be, an upgraded graphic, which is the same graphic with the date changed. So yeah. I'll send that out. I basically, Rock Bottom is pretty good. They have pretty, good beer and the food
good pizza. So
we're bringing out the pizzas a little earlier this time.
Yep.
But yeah, it was a good place and we had a great time. So yeah, well, if you're interested in showing up, definitely RSVP. Let me know you're coming, and we are looking for underwriters. If you want to sponsor. Otherwise, I'll buy you beer. No big deal. So. But HomeTech.fm/happy hour. If you're going to CEDIA, hope to see you there. And with that, we got a bunch of HomeTech headlines. We got an interview. So what do you say we jump into the show?
Let's do it.
This is interesting. Bond has introduced the Breeze Pro. It's a smart weather sensor that automates motorized screens, pergola louvers, and shutters based on wind, rain, and sunlight conditions. They're going to be showing this off at the CEDIA Expo in 2024 and booth 4109 and Solux's booth 3319. The sensor works with the Bond Bridge Pro RF to Wi-Fi bridge and the Bond Home app for seamless Wi-Fi control and integration with virtual assistants and home automation platforms. This is it's a pretty good idea for Bond to get involved with this because they're already controlling like shades and motorized screens and that kind of thing. If you need to retract an awning or something like that, you need to know when the wind is getting too high. Makes sense for them to have some kind of weather station integration. And in this case, they put it together themselves. Looks very familiar. Looks like the Tempest one that I replaced recently.
Looks like the EcoWit one as well.
It does it? Okay. There's only so much you can do with the weather station, I guess.
It's a good idea. Honestly, I really like having my weather station. I don't do anything super fancy with mine. I have one from EcoWit. I definitely spent way too much money on it compared to what I do with it. But it's nice to have your own little weather station. Tells you the outside temperature and how much it's rained and everything like that. I think it's one of those overlooked home automation products because it's pretty self-sustaining. I installed it on a conduit on my fence, and I don't touch it. It just keeps reporting forever. So
until the water gets too high, then it'll stop. Evidently.
Yeah, I if I have that problem, I think I have bigger problems in my weather station. Not
Well,
working,
you never know. I didn't know.
Yeah.
Who knows?
Yeah, I never thought I'd like it as much as I do, but it actually, like, I have it set up so if it starts raining and I have windows open, it will notify me the windows are open. And the other thing we use it for is just notification on my Home Assistant dashboard, letting me know, is this a good time to open the windows and get the nice breeze in the house? Like, if it's cooler outside, hey, we can open the windows. AC turns off, the houses will cool down. We get a nice breeze. We get some outside, but then when it heats up to the point where outside's now hotter than the house, then we know to close the windows and, let the AC handle and stuff like that. So, with the family, there's no more guessing. They can just open the dashboard and they know, can I open windows or can I not open windows? And I no longer have to say, hey, we're not cooling down the, like AC isn't free, all the famous parent sayings, Seth, I know you have a whole bunch of them, like you're trying to cool down the neighborhood.
We don't even open our windows. What are you talking about?
Oh yeah. You're in Florida. Yeah.
There's
that's
like
true.
3 good days you can do that on. And the rest of the time you want to leave them shut.
Yeah. But I also look at this product though, and I'm like, it's a Me Too product. You see, if these manufacturers let products work in other ecosystems and they work together, Bond wouldn't have to develop their own imitation one. They could have used the other one and integrated into their app, and that company could use the Bond one. Like, I'm just looking at this as like, so much wasted resources just making your own version of something that's already out there, right? And I see why they do it. It's just one of the reasons why, I look at the industry at how much is wasted out there, and we could do so much more.
Yep. Having things integrate would be like, if you could use, and I don't know, maybe you can, we'll have to check this out at CEDIA, but maybe you can use this, the sensor data and everything, kind of like you can use with the Tempest, maybe they have a published API or something that you can pull off of it. So
yeah. Well, if you had Home Assistant, you could do all this stuff automatically, right? But Bond wants to be done in their ecosystem only. And I'm sure they could have integrated one of these other companies just as easy and then focus their money on something else. Come up with something new.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Bond is, I like this company. They're
I do too.
They pull stuff together and that wasn't working. Like if not for them, we wouldn't be able to control fans,
or my fireplace. I use it for my fireplace. Yep.
Fireplace. Yeah. So like, I don't blame them too much. Yeah. It does look like they may have pulled this one off the shelves from somewhere, but maybe only so many different ways you can make a, make a weather station, there's so many OEMs out there. Good stuff. I'm still really happy with my Tempest. I did do the swap out thing this morning. I couldn't get it to work, and I don't know what it was. I had to basically just restart the bridge. As soon as I did that, boom, everything. They have like a swap out process. It's just you replace, you put the device in like a pairing mode, and then you press a button, and it's like 3 steps, and it seamlessly transferred over. And I went out and took the old one down, put the new one on the pole, and it's now reporting weather data, which is nice. Not turning on and off anymore. So
for the record, it's a project that Seth has finally completed.
Well, no, not technically, because I still have to mail the old one back.
Oh, okay, okay.
It's got to be boxed up. I'll send it back tomorrow.
We saw how you are with mailing stamps or mailing, mailing the stickers and stuff. So this is we'll give you an update if he ever mails the old one back.
They sent a prepaid postage. So like this is going to be solo effort. I'll be able to just close that box, put the new label on, and get it to the mailman, and
3
they'll
steps.
take care of it from there. Yeah, 3 steps.
If only everything was that easy,
Yeah, I mean that's what I say. If you're going to need a weather station, you can buy the Bond one, but also keep Tempest in mind, because they really do, they rock. I don't know. Just I kind of want to like buy a few more of these things and like just install them around at like the places I have access to. Like it's like I have a couple of clients' homes that I still monitor. Like I could put them out there and get weather data from them. I'm sure they'd appreciate a weather station or something like that. It's like, no, I want access to it too. I want all that weather data. So if you're having a crazy storm or something, I want to know about it before it gets to my house. I don't know. It's what they're doing. That's what I want to do. All right, let's move on here. We've got another new product from SwitchBot. They've unveiled a new smart security camera, the SwitchBot Outdoor Security Camera 2K. It's designed for outdoor use, of course. Camera offers, guess what? 2K resolution, features both color and infrared night vision, thanks to built-in spotlight. It also includes a 106 dB siren, can be triggered by automations or tampering. It goes on to, it has a micro SD card backups up to 250 gigabytes. And you can have a cloud storage option available for additional cost. It's got a battery, pretty big battery. So it has about up to 6 months of life. And what's this thing cost? $100. Outdoor camera, -10C to 50C. So that's great. $100 in the US and 100 pounds in the UK.
Yeah, it looks pretty nice. Like a nice camera, honestly. Color night vision as well, which I think is kind of important for a camera. It'd be interesting to see if it records continuously. Probably not because of the battery, though.
Probably not. Yeah. It probably only on the motion events. It'll save them to the card. But for 6 months of life, this might fit.
Yeah, $100.
Fit the bill for somebody.
That's not bad. Yeah, at least some competition to Wyze. I mean, I think the Wyze cameras are definitely going to be half the price, but there's not a lot of good battery-powered outdoor cameras like this. So,
and this one only works down to -10°C. I'm sorry, Canada.
Is that not cold enough?
No,
it seemed like it should be.
No.
How cold do you get in Canada?
We could go down 20, 30. Like, yeah,
Oh my
it depends on
gosh.
parts of Canada. They see some really cold places.
Just don't put the outdoor camera outside in Canada.
Yeah, it's an outdoor camera.
Oh, my bad.
We'll bring it inside in the winter when it gets that cold.
Yeah, you got.
Do you bring
Give it a
Clippy
nice
into the
feel.
house when it gets hot outside?
I mean, if it got that cold here, I would.
He doesn't bring Clippy inside when there's a hurricane.
I know.
That's true.
So, yeah.
He lives under bricks. I made a brick house for him. All right. So
I'll just let this
Yeah,
camera go
that's
to somebody
awful.
that can appreciate him more and bring him inside when it gets cold.
That's good.
Yeah.
it looks like you can attach it. They have a solar panel option for $49. So you can attach it to a solar panel. I bet that it would extend the lights. And, this could be pretty good if you had a camera that you needed mounted, completely independently. You can put it out there. So, yeah.
And it's cheap. But also keep in mind, it's cheap for a reason, right? Like,
Yeah, I'm not looking at the mount. The mount doesn't look like the most secure thing in the world. It looks like you could just reach up there. It looks like a baseball.
Yeah, they never do. It's like the what is it? The Nest cameras or the Arlo cameras, the magnet mounts. I'm like, who wants a magnet mount?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, it's like a. How'd you say? It's like this thing looks like an eyeball, right? So it literally looks like an eyeball. It's round. And the contraption that it snaps into is kind of like a 3-pronged, I don't know, clip, and you just like snap it in the middle of it and adjust the eyeball which way you want it to look. It doesn't look like the most secure thing in the world. So anybody can just walk by with a baseball bat and boom, you got a baseball game going on. Just whack that thing.
An expensive, explodey baseball game.
Yeah. Especially if you hit those 10,000 milliamp batteries.
That's a big battery to blow up. So it's like what, 2 or 3 times what's in your phone. So
yeah. All right. Well, moving on here. We've got another. I don't know. Is this a new product or not? I guess it's Sonos. They've expanded the TV audio swap feature. Now it used to only go between ARC soundbars and Apple devices, but now it will work on Beam and Ray soundbars. The feature allows users to send audio from their soundbars directly to the Sonos ACE headphones via direct Wi-Fi connection. So there you go. I didn't think they'd do it, but they did. I don't know why they didn't release it this way.
yeah, why did they not just? Oh my gosh, this company is like a dumpster fire at this point.
It seems like such an incomplete product, and like at this point, like you spent all your marketing effort on headphones that were like expensive and no one really wanted, and they only worked with your highest end soundbar, and now you're having to tell everybody, yeah, we're filling in all those extra features. And oh, by the way, the app, we're putting all this stuff back to. Oh man, I just don't know why they did all this. There's also a story. I don't know if we covered it last week. I don't think we did. I think it came up after the show, but like they're basically canceling projects because they're gonna slow down and work on their app and fixing the app and that kind of thing. So yeah.
And one of the things that's been rumored to come out for a while now is a more expensive Sonos Arc. And I've got to say, the Sonos Arc is probably my most lackluster Sonos product I have, and I can't imagine an even more expensive version. And that's supposedly what has been delayed. So,
Oh yeah, that was going to have the new speakers in it from that.
Yeah, if you're looking to spend $1,400 on a soundbar, you're going to have to wait a little bit longer.
Yeah. Well, just keep listening to your $500 headphones or whatever. And
This is kind of cool that minus giving Sonos grief because they deserve it. It is kind of cool that it comes to the Sonos Ray because I wonder if you can use like the higher, like the 5.1 surround sound, because the Ray is only optical. And so technically you cannot do surround sound with that. So I would assume that you're not going to be able to. So like the home theater immersive experience you get with the Sonos ACE and the Sonos Arc, I don't think you're going to be able to get that with the Ray.
Oh, yeah.
The Beam you probably will, because they can do over HDMI, but...
And I was also, I'm trying to find information, but I couldn't find anything. But is it any Beam, or is it a specific generation of Beam you have to have too, right?
That's a good point.
Because I think there's 3 generations of the Beam. So before you buy your headphones expecting this, look that up.
All right, so it is the Beam Gen 1 and Gen 2.
Okay.
Oh, yeah, both generations.
Which is all the Beams, so...
Okay, good.
Every Beam.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised
There's a
if they
third
said
generation
it
that doesn't work with that.
Yeah.
I wouldn't either, yeah.
That's what I was going to say.
Typical
You got to wait for the app update.
Yeah, there's an app update for it. Oh, man. Moving on. We've got a big security problem. Evidently, security researchers have discovered significant vulnerabilities in Ecovac's vacuum and lawnmower robots that allow hackers to take control of the devices. Oh no. They can take control of the devices by Bluetooth up to 450 away. Once compromised, the hackers can access the robots remotely through the Wi-Fi connections, enabling them to control the cameras and microphones without the owner's knowledge. They reported these issues over to Ecovacs, but received no response. Will be interesting to see if Ecovacs, once it hits the news, if they have released some updates or anything for this thing, but that's no good.
I just have to say,
good thing I got rid of mine.
Yeah, I when I first saw this story, TJ, you're the first person I thought of, because I remember when you were looking at your robot vacuums and one of them had a camera, and you were like, "We just didn't want one with a camera in our house."
Mm-hmm.
And now you can say, "I told you so." Like, I'd be cool if you say that. Go for it. Say it.
And I told you so. And it was the Ecovacs one as well. It was the Omni 1, I believe. So hilarious, because that was like the thing that I was weirded out, that made me weird out. It was the camera, and it was the fact that I could use the app to look at the camera remotely, and I was like, nope, somebody's going to be able to get access to this eventually.
Yeah, I think mine has a camera on it. I think it looks like a camera in the front of it, but you can't access it through the app. Now, I just assume there's someone. Every time I start it, there's someone that, in China that it just gets the video stream from, and they go around vacuuming my house, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah, that's fine. I don't know about that. You know what I mean?
As long as I can't see it, I just, it doesn't exist, right?
It's like the camera and the Brilliant keypad. It's like, I don't want to know that exists either. Why are you giving me that? Maybe one day we'll hear back from Ecovacs here and they'll update it, but maybe not. So. I got one more story to talk about tonight. TJ actually found this one somehow from maybe an email or something that you got from, SVS or something. But evidently here in the United States, the FTC has finalized an amendment to its amplifier rule to aid consumers comparing home entertainment amplifiers. This rule goes all the way back to 1974 that helped address some deceptive advertising practices, and basically made, saying, hey, like if you're testing your amplifier, we've all seen advertisements for an amplifier that had like 100 watts or 500 watts or 1,000 watts or whatever. And, that number's just completely made up, right? Because who knows how many watts it has? Or if when you have that many watts going to a speaker, if it's just not all distorted and doesn't sound very good because the amplifier is garbage inside. Well, the FTC has done something really nice here. They've updated this rule to force them to basically standardize the test conditions for the power output claims that they're going to be having to put on all of their marketing materials and on their websites and in their spec sheets. And this is, I guess, been going on since like 2008. They looked at this rule. Of course, nothing got done. But somehow in 2020, they started looking back into it, had some open comment sessions over the next couple of years. And now, as of today that we're recording, you pretty much have to have the old stuff off your website and new stuff on. So like the email that we saw from SVS, I guess, had like they were freaking out because they have to take all their stuff down. They're not going to have that spec there anymore, saying that they're going to have, 100 watts on an amplifier or something like that. They're going to have to take that down. I think this is great, though. This is great for consumers.
Yes.
We've all seen those advertisements. I've got a copy of the rule and the background and everything, and they talk about how FTC staff had gone and found the exact same product that had been marketed with, 45 watts power. And then they go to a different place and it's marketed with 100 watts, same product. This is so confusing. And now they're saying, no, you're going to sell that. And you're going to bring that into the United States. You're going to sell it. It's not going to be deceptive. You're going to have to measure with this set of, temperature, this frequency, how you measure it, all that's going to be standardized. And, you can't fake what you do anymore. Very nice.
I'm happy they did this because as far as I know, working with speakers, it's always been lies. Car audio, home audio, it's just always been lies when it came to this wattage. But my question is if they had tested their stuff in the standard proper way, are they allowed to keep that rating on their websites and their marketing material?
I guess if it matches, like we'll link to the rule changes that they're going to have. I guess if they have that, if they tested it in specific ways, I suppose they could keep it.
Yeah, because I'm wondering now, all the companies that are removing all that stuff, are they admitting guilt that they did not test it properly? And you get what I'm saying? Is they're coming.
They tested to their advantage, right? Because you see it all the time. You're like, oh, it's got 100 watts, but then it's like in fine print it says 4 ohms, and then like the distortion is insane. So it's like, well, at 8 ohms at a normal speaker, it's really half that power or whatever they were saying. So yeah, I don't know. It's just nice to know that at least this rule is in place and that they aren't,
There's a lot of stuff they could do this too, but I wonder if like Sonos amps will get hit with this. It'd be interesting to see if they have to take it all down too.
Do they? I don't know if they advertise that kind of stuff. I mean, I guess they have it on the amps, right?
Let's say most audio products do really. Yeah. So,
and most are lying. I'm pretty sure.
No, companies don't lie. Come on.
Not to market their products. I mean, I think all the companies have done is basically made the numbers for themselves. Like if you go over to the commercial world, you really don't have this problem because you get called out pretty quickly, and it's just here on the consumer side, which affects a lot more people, I know, right? Like it's everybody going to Best Buy or, to buy something or Amazon or whatever. And you see something that says it's 45 watts or 150 watts or whatever. It looks like it's going to have power. And then when you turn it on, it sounds horrible. and I guess if you turned it all the way up and it was screamed and had all this distortion, it would be maybe at 150 watts. But no more of this junk with like peak power and RMS and all that stuff. Like it's going to have a standard, like at this level, it's going to have this measurement and everybody will look at the amplifiers the same. So that'll be nice. I'm glad they did it.
As a test, I just went to the Weem website and they still listed at 60 watts per channel at 8 ohms and 120 watts per channel at 4 ohms. So
they can do both. But I think now they have to add the THD, the total harmonic distortion. They have to add that number on there.
Buried in here somewhere.
Yeah. To be fair, I don't think Weem probably cares.
Yeah, I mean, they just basically copy pasted Sonos's old app onto their products.
I'm going to go on a Weem and say they don't care.
So, yeah, we'll see what this looks like. I'm hoping this discourages some of those deceptive practices, and we'll start seeing better specs come into the equipment and a more standardized way. It's always nice to see, because I remember back when I was selling like receivers and everything, some of the off brands would have like 500 watts total output, and it was never what it was supposed to be. And you say, but this, this Harman Kardon at the time was good, or Onkyo at the time. Though they're the actual premium brands that we sell here, and they actually say, they have a standardized set in the way they measure it, and they're not telling you like it doesn't have like horrible sound coming out of it when you turn it on. So anyway, that was back when those two brands were pretty good. Now they're the off brands that sound bad. Anyway, all the links and the topics we discussed tonight can be found over in our show notes at HomeTech.fm/494. All right, well, that's going to wrap up our headlines tonight. We do have a quick interview with Alan Chow, Managing Director of Chowmain. He's a software developer that works on drivers for a number of different control systems. He's based in Australia, and he was, we record late at night. He was up early in the morning, and we were able to have a pretty good interview with Alan. So with that, let's jump in the interview with Alan Chow. All right, Alan, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Seth. I'm glad to be on the show.
Yeah, no. You and I go way back, so it's good to see your face outside of what CEDIA usually is when we do actually get to meet up.
Yeah, I mean, we've been friends for I don't know, like 15 years, longer. I don't remember how long.
Yeah, I was supposed to say it's like 2009, 8, 7, somewhere in there. We go way back.
Long time.
So yeah, history, where did you get your start in the industry, and like what led you to this point where you are the owner, I guess, of Chowmain Soft, and you're running a big software house for driver development in the industry?
Yeah, sure. I started in the industry working for a Control 4 distributor, where I was the guy who trained all the Control 4 integrators on how to program Control 4. Back then, they called it Tech 1. I'd also do like the technical support, the RMAs, the driver development, pretty much a one-man technician shop that did everything related to Control 4, which is how I got my foot into the door in this industry. From there, I worked for an integrator for a few years, where I was a project manager and a system integrator, driver developer, and I finally got poached by the New Zealand distributor of Control 4 to develop an energy management project using Control 4 as the backbone, where we did a trial run for about 1,000 units, I think, or 1,000 homes. From there, we actually spun up Chowmain. So myself and the shareholders of that energy business spun up Chowmain, and I'm the managing director, so I do the day-to-day running of the business.
Okay.
Myself and the other director of Chowmain, Roger, we handle the strategy, so the direction. It started off with just myself. We hired Richard Mullins, who's now our CTO, as our first employee. And from there, we just grew and grew, and to the point where we're at now. We actually have 6 driver developers in-house. We do 9 different control systems. So we do control for Crestron Home. We got trained up in Fabaro, but no one's contracted us to do Fabaro yet, which is now called Ubi, by the way. We do Nice Home Management, which was called Alan previously, QSys, RTI, Savannah, and URC. So that's a lot of systems that we do.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yep. We've also got a web team that also handles the development of our website and the newly launched marketplace.
Yeah, I know we wanted to just kind of let's talk about that, because that's why we were reaching out. We were talking beforehand. I'm like, hey, Alan, you just come on the show and talk about this. We can talk about all sorts of stuff. But So you're launching an online marketplace, like a driver marketplace for, I guess, I'm assuming your drivers that you guys make for all of the systems that you just talked about. Yeah,
that's correct. The Chowmain marketplace is a marketplace designed to sell all of our drivers, modules, and plugins. We've grown to a size now where we've got more than 350 drivers across those 9 control systems I spoke about earlier, and across 160 unique manufacturer brands. So it made sense for us to kind of spin up our own marketplace so that we could service the integrators better. On top of that, we understand that, integrators require a bit of handholding. So we've provided technical support via phone, chat, and tickets, 19 hours a day, Monday through Friday, across New Zealand, Australia, and UK-based help desks. We've got phone numbers for Australia, phone number for UK, and phone number for United States.
Nice.
So we just want to make sure that we help everyone out. Unfortunately, we don't have staff in the US yet. But the goal is eventually we'll grow to a size where we do 24/7. So
it's okay. It's okay. Anytime you call in, somebody's going to have an interesting accent you can talk to. So that'll be great.
Yeah, that's great. You British accent, Aussie, Kiwi.
That's really cool, man. Congratulations. That sounds like a big effort. I know it to be a big effort, but it is. And I do not envy the number of projects that you have open right now with that many. That's all your in-house drivers. Now you also do like manufacturer sponsor drivers too. Like if say a big company came to you and said, "Hey, we're launching some receivers or something like that. Can you write some drivers for us?" You would contract with them directly and write those. You call them manufactured sponsor drivers. Is that?
Yeah,
that's your terminology. I like it. It really does work.
No, that's correct. So we work in 2 fashions. So one is that a manufacturer would approach us and ask us to assist them in developing a driver. We understand that the reason why manufacturers reach out to us is not because, well, it is because they want a driver developed, but the reason why they want to get a driver developed is to reach a target audience who would not know about their brand or would not utilize their brand without that integration. So as part of that, we make sure that we have a reasonable marketing reach where we could promote the integrations that we've done on their behalf to our dealer base of integrators so that they understand that, hey, manufacturer XYZ has sponsored this particular driver for this particular control system. Come check it out here, download it from our website, or it might be certified. So it might be a Control4 certified driver or a URC certified driver or Crestron Home or whatever. So we work very closely with the manufacturers and with the control systems to ensure that we represent their brand as best as possible.
Well, excellent. That's it's a cool business you guys have put together, and I mean, everyone knows your name out there. It's kind of wild when you're like, oh, I bought that over at Chowmain. You know, like, they've got a driver for it. Go look over there. You guys have a number of drivers that you hear. We actually recommend the Shelly driver when people were coming to us and buying the Shelly devices. We'd send them over to yours. So yeah, there's a lot of product that exists out there and will integrate thanks to you. So appreciate that. Thank you very much.
Yeah, no.
Yeah, I've definitely used your software on a lawn projects. What's been your favorite platform to develop for? Has there been one that's been maybe easier than another or better for another purpose? But what's been your favorite?
Look, that's a very hard question to answer. Pretty much because with the 6 control system developers we have on staff, everyone has a favorite system, right? And
do they get in fights?
Well, we have heated discussions quite a bit. And the reason why is because all of our staff are very passionate about the systems that they develop for. So myself and Richard, for example, he's very much Crestron. I'm very much Control4. And the reason why we're very much these systems is because those are the systems that we've invested a lot of time and energy on personally over the years. So different systems have different strengths, different weaknesses. But what we tend to do is work within those constraints and those boundaries to ensure that the drives we develop maximize the infrastructure that they provide so that we can, I guess, show off and provide the most unique benefits for that particular product in that ecosystem.
Yeah. I find that a lot of the times when I make drivers too. Like I've made a couple of Control4 drivers here and there, but I find that the hands-on experience that you have, that I have, really lends to that. Like we understand not only the software, there's a difference between like a software developer and then someone has done software and then messed with the hardware it's supposed to talk to, because it never actually works correctly and the hardware never actually interacts. It's a different world. It really is. A web developer, I work with a web developer every day. And when I start talking about like an API or integrating with a piece of hardware, the questions that come up are just, I mean, they make me chuckle because I'm like, yeah, that would work in a normal world, but we're not in the normal world when we move over here and we've made a web server ourselves and we're spitting out this API out of a port. So yeah, it's really cool. Like you said, you're able to focus the strengths of those systems, each one of those systems, based on your experience in the industry, like what you dealt with as an installer, and you know how these systems work, and you're able to like add those little extra flares and little custom touches in that, quite frankly, they don't exist on the freebie drivers that come in Control4, or other systems. Like you get those drivers, and yeah, they do the job. They'll switch the video, they'll do whatever, but you don't get like the added variables, all the other stuff that go in that like really help your job as an installer or programmer to actually make the job shine a little bit more. So that's why I always liked your drivers and doing my own drivers. Like I always like putting that little extra touch on things, just because I know how the system's supposed to work, and then like what the expectation is, or like making little shortcuts and everything like around programming so the installer could get in and get his job done faster and that kind of thing. So that's really what I think your company brings to the table more than anything else.
And that
Yep.
Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, Gavin, you proceed.
I was going to say that was going to lead me into my my question about driver development too. I've developed a few driver, and I'm pretty sure we've seen the same challenges. And I'm just curious, what kind of challenges you see when doing drivers, like bad APIs, bad timing, for example, how slow things respond, or no APIs at all, or bad manufacturers, do you see those type of things?
Oh, I mean, there are a lot of manufacturers out there who don't understand APIs, and we'd have to teach them about what is a good API and what is a bad API. So typically what we do for a good API is we would connect to a system, we would poll for an initial state to understand what's present, and then we would listen to what is happening as some sort of event stream or callback or whatever. That's an example of a good API. Bad APIs would be systems where we would not get an entire picture. So we might not get the correct commands. Like, for example, we might just have a toggle command and no discrete commands. We might not get feedback. We might get feedback that is very hard to parse. Or we might get feedback where there's the potential to mistakenly parse the wrong data. So it's the same for any API, I guess, regardless of home automation or IT in general. There's good APIs and bad APIs. In fact, I mean, I remember discussing with the guys at CEDIA in terms of creating a course or something like that where we could dictate what's a good API and how to make it easier for developers like us and for manufacturers to get their products integrated by control systems.
I was actually going to recommend that you asked to do a course on that, because a lot of people need that help, with when it comes to APIs, I find.
Yeah. I mean, luckily for us, we do work with a vast majority of manufacturers who exhibit at these events. So usually we do have a say in how they develop their products. A lot of them will reach out to us 6 months to even a year before a product is released so that we can work with them to ensure that their product shines when it does get released.
6 months to a year, lucky.
Yeah, we do get some bad apples as well that come in like a month before CEDIA saying, we need it done by CEDIA. Yeah, that happens as well.
Yeah. That's been my experience. Is we need this done. That the manufacturers tend to be really good with the product, right? Like, and it's the software, and especially like IP on top of things, has just been kind of a struggle for them, like IP control in general. RS-232 seemed a little easier, but then you have the problem when you get on the field of a technician not being able to hook the wires up. There's no blinky lights on RS-232. I love it, but there's no blinky lights to tell you that it's working. And that's what IP control can give you. I have a driver right now. We have the option of using RS-232. We have the option of IP. Everybody wants to hook up the RS-232, but they can't get it working. I'm like, well, it's the cable, it's the cable or the baud rate, it's something down lower level than you're normally used to dealing with. And it's a very interesting dynamic when it comes to dealing with the actual equipment. But I found that it's really nice when the manufacturers will work with you on changing their product a little bit, tweaking. And it's really nice that we have the opportunity to have those conversations with them to make their product that much better, where it will actually integrate and benefit. Like, it doesn't just benefit like the Control 4 drivers or restaurant drivers that we're writing. Like, if somebody, on the DIY side picks up the API and writes a Home Assistant driver for it, they won't have to do so many hacks on their end either if we're able to get, discrete commands and that kind of stuff put in to an API. So it really does benefit everyone. Yeah, definitely. I mean, the other caveat as well is when a manufacturer reaches out to you too early and then they have a changing API on the fly. I'm sure you've experienced it yourself, Seth, where you design a driver around a certain infrastructure and then they make a breaking change. And all of a sudden your perfect, pretty code gets all messy because you have to cater for this major architectural change. So there's a sweet spot between, when to approach a driver developer. Too early, too late. It's like Goldilocks. It's just right. Yeah. And sometimes you have to wait for, we have one vendor have to wait for them to translate the documents and send them, like the API documents, and send them over. It's like, well, I can use Google too. Just send it over to me. I'll use Google Translate and translate the document.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's a very fun niche industry. That's for sure. I gotta say, it's been fun to work in that over what I don't know, 10 years.
Yeah.
I haven't been doing it as long as you.
Yeah, look, it is fun writing drivers. At the same time, it could be frustrating if you encounter a product that's not well documented or doesn't work the way it is documented, for example. So a lot of the times it's not quick and simple and fast. It's a lot of back and forth to get it right with the manufacturers a lot of the times. But
you're not talking about Control 4 documentation.
No. I'm not talking about SDKs. I'm talking about APIs.
No, I was just fighting the security proxy.
Oh, I see. Actually, Control 4's actually got one of the best software development kits I've seen, documentation wise.
They've gotten a whole lot better than it used to be. So I'm very, very happy with what exists now.
Well, compared to 1.6 days when DriverWorks Fest came out, when there was pretty much no documentation, I think it's a lot better now. And in fact, pretty much anyone can step into it and do it now.
It's definitely it's on GitHub now. You can just load it right on, and they've actually done a really good job of documenting and bringing out. I just ran across something today where I was like, oh, they changed this, and I didn't realize they changed this, but they're always tinkering with it, updating it, and making it better. So it's really nice to see, because it had gone for a while. We were just kind of like, I think a developer who added an API or a feature would just paste in something and then they'd walk away from it, and it was like, this doesn't make any sense at all. But now they've definitely been working on it, so it's good to see that.
Yeah, it's fantastic. It's good when home automation manufacturers, I guess, commit to improving their software development kits. Look, these things take time, and it's understandable because, I mean, it's a massive infrastructure change. I mean, the slightest change could cause drastic effects. And the fact that Control 4 and the other home automation manufacturers have committed to maintaining it over, how many years, I mean, it's fantastic. It's because of them that we have this industry of driver development.
Yeah, exactly. Elon has a great, I mean, it's more of a closed loop, a closed group, I guess, that can develop for them, but their API documentation is outstanding as well.
Nice home management now, Seth.
Yeah. Oh, sorry. Nice.
Yeah.
I haven't done too much with them, but I'll have to start doing more. It's a ever-growing field over there. It's all the stuff that they've been bringing on.
Yeah, they're actually really quick. They're probably one of the quickest on the market in terms of bringing out new features to a software development kit.
Nice. Well, we talked a lot about the pro stuff, and we briefly talked about some DIY product that you've gotten involved with. I want to go back a couple months ago. It feels like a couple months ago. It could have been like last year, Alan. Honestly, this year has blown by so quickly. We were all mad at MyQ, and then RadGDO comes out, which means Rage Against the Garage Door opener. And we were talking about it, and then all of a sudden, Alan Chow releases a driver for RadGDO, and it just takes the Control 4 world by storm. And I think you've been working with Nate over at Connected too, right? So like you've gotten them working as well. So these are primarily DIY focused devices, and they're definitely bridged over into the pro market with your integrations. How much fun was that to like get started with and do? Like, just tell us about that project and like what was the impetus of bringing that forward and in your pipeline? Obviously, you got a lot going on. Like, what made you guys think, hey, this is the way to go? Like, I'm just curious about that, because it's an interesting product, and you guys struck like right at the right time when you released it. It was perfect timing.
Yeah, I guess we always look for pain points for that we can solve, and we saw that. Obviously, the integration to Chamberlain and LiftMaster, Security Plus 2.0 and 1.0 based products was a massive pain point for the industry. There was a lot of, trust that was lost through official and non-official integrations, because through MyQ, that is.
Yeah.
And we reached out to a few of our home automation manufacturer friends, and they all pointed us to this RadGDO product, which I had never heard of at that point in time. So we reached out to Paul from RadGDO to have a discussion, and he kind of sent us a few samples, walked us through what we need to do to integrate his product quite well. And the integration went really smoothly. we utilized ESP Home firmware, which is what Home Assistant and some other integrations utilize. And we made sure that the integrations would be as easy as possible for the various home automation platforms that we developed for. So we developed for Control 4, Nice Home Management, and Pressure on Home as the first ones for RAT GDO.
Makes sense, yeah.
We have RTI on the way. It's unfortunately we had to kind of put it on the side while we worked on the marketplace.
Yeah.
But that's going to be next online, which will be out shortly. But the integration-wise, like it's as simple as just typing in the IP address of a driver, and all of a sudden you've got bidirectional control and feedback with, position-based feedback. We can control the lights. We can lock the remotes so that, let's say you arm the security system to night mode, then, someone breaks in, they can't open your garage door to steal your car, for example.
The motion sensor.
Yeah, the motion sensor, the IR beam, everything. So we made sure that it was super simple. And on top of it as well, we added the unique features that Seth was talking about before, that as a developer, as an integrator, we just made it even better by sending out push notifications, for example, if the garage door has been left open for a period of time. So we've made it as feature-rich as possible to ensure that integrators would I guess, get in, get out, and, have something that just wows the end user and customer. One of the coolest features I think we've added to the driver, which is not native to RAT GDO, is that we would fire an event, an announcement for a Control 4, for example, that before the garage door closes. So this is just to make sure that integrators can adhere to UL 325, the code.
Oh, right.
To make sure that it will make an audible sound and visual notification when the garage door is about to close. So it does that. Having said that, if the integrator doesn't want to install speakers or install additional hardware, then they can go for connected. So connected does something similar, but it does have a built-in speaker, built-in LED so that it will strobe and do everything for you. Both products are fantastic. Connected is the product to go for if you want a product to just get in, get out, no additional hardware to do UL 325.
I like Nate. He's a good guy.
Yeah, Nate's fantastic. He's actually showing off an actual garage door at CEDIA.
Oh, really?
For our driver. Yeah, that's going to be cool.
That'd be fun.
Oh, well.
But I think a lot of people don't realize that. I think it's by code that in some places we have to have a sound when it's closing.
Correct.
And stuff like that. And, that would be good feedback to the RAT GDO guys to say, hey, maybe release a version that has a little speaker on it that you can build in to your driver too. Yeah.
Paul is aware of that. I'm not sure what his plans are on his roadmap. So
curious. I don't know if you can answer this or not, but I'm curious about the business side of something like that. Right. So, when you work with, say, something like a RAT GDO, like, how does it work like that? Like, does he get a percentage of the sales of the driver, or is it just his hardware sales, knowing that his driver is now supported on all these other platforms?
Yeah, pretty much they just supply us with hardware and we develop the software. We make revenue through licensing and he makes revenue through hardware sales.
Okay.
How big is the storage closet now?
And all the hardware that we receive from all the manufacturers. Yeah.
Yep.
The problem for us is that manufacturers tend to send us stuff, but they never want to get it back.
Yeah.
So it just accumulates more and more and more. So we have a lot of e-waste, unfortunately.
I'm in the same boat. I've got like a box of cameras and NVRs behind me. I'm like,
you think you've got a lot of cameras?
Yeah.
We deal with every camera manufacturer, and you come into our office, and whether it be Luma, Leland, Dahua, Hikvision, Axis, you name it, or Uniview even. I mean, you name it, we've got cameras from. Just because we've worked very closely with those manufacturers to ensure that we integrate and support their cameras.
Yeah, it becomes like you said, an e-waste issue. And I've got even here, I mean, our office is in Phoenix and I try and keep as much equipment as I can there and make them deal with it. Like, just set it up and plug it in.
You need a garage sale, Seth. Like, you need to just host a garage sale.
Well, the problem is that, 6 months from now, somebody will find a little bug, or there'll be something that pops up, or there'll be an update on the platform, and you'll have to oh man, you'll have to take it out. You'll have to put it all back together. You have to remember the passwords, reset everything. And it's like, oh man, you can never quite get rid of it. Just when you think you're ready to get rid of it, it comes back to bite you. It's happened to me. That happened to me. I sent a piece back to Phoenix, and as soon as I sent it, somebody found something, and I was like, oh man, I need that back here.
Yeah, we generally keep stuff for a couple of years before we kind of dispose of it. As soon as the hardware is pretty much end of life, essentially.
Yeah. Now, you guys have done several projects with DIY products into professional platforms. You have the Home Assistant integration for Control 4. Is that going to come to more platforms in the future? And do you think that most big platforms like URC and Crestron and everything else can kind of support that crossover with Home Assistant?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of the DIY stuff nowadays is actually quite mature in comparison to what it used to be in the past. We started with Control 4 for the development because that accounts for a large portion of our revenue. As such, the return on investment is substantially faster than the other platforms. For other platforms, we generally do the sure wins because we know that we'll eventually get a return on investment on other platforms. But DIY products nowadays, there are a lot of really good DIY products that can be installed into professional homes and work extremely well. I mean, you look at Shelly, for example, right? So Shelly is one of our top-selling drivers for Control 4. For Align, for example, some of our competition has done Shelly drives. In fact, quite a few of them have. You look at URC. URC have natively integrated Shelly. So they've done it as a first-party driver. So these DIY products are getting to the stage where the reliability, the uptime, the quality of them is as good as professional products. So, which is great because it brings down the costs of installations. It brings down the cost of home automation, which in turn, brings home automation to the masses, in my opinion. So I think, it's a great crossover.
Yeah, it definitely brings some competition, because then the professional products are hopefully going to get a little bit better and everybody's going to get a better product in the long run. So I think it's always good to see those advancements anyway. And
I've noticed, just talking to the pro guys, there's a lot of gaps in the pro space that, you're just waiting a long time for a solution to come along. And then you see something that I'm playing with and you're like, oh, where'd you get that from? We move a lot faster in the do-it-yourself space, but it's not probably as reliable yet, but it's getting better.
Right.
Yeah, I think that there's a lot of crossover. So there's a lot of cool things that DIY guys are doing, and then there's a lot of cool things that the pro stuff is doing. And I think competition drives innovation at the end of the day. So it doesn't matter where the competition is from the high or the low end. But what it does is that it brings new functionality, new features. It drives manufacturers to produce better quality hardware with better features. So,
well, very good. Well, Alan, I do want to. We're running low on our time here. I do have a couple of questions for you. Before we end, we've been doing this recently on our last couple of interviews. We're just starting our interviews back up. So welcome to one of the first few interviews of the show here.
Oh, thanks.
What right now is your favorite home automation product? What are you getting a lot of enjoyment out of these days? Doesn't have to be Control 4. Doesn't have to be a Chowmain driver. It can be anything. What do you like working with these days?
Yeah, that's a really hard question to answer.
I should have told you before.
Yeah. No. It's
hurry up and pick a favorite.
We could edit out you thinking if you need.
No, that's fine. Yeah, I guess since we work with drivers pretty much every day, of the week, we see a lot of different products and brands. And it's rare that we find a product that is different from other products in the market. One of the most recent products that we integrated was a product from RTI, actually. And it's the RTI Intelligent Soundbar.
Okay.
It's a soundbar that is designed for meeting spaces. So, you mount it underneath the TV. It's got a camera. It's got a microphone built in. It's got the ability to connect by USB-C or HDMI, or you can use their wireless dongle or use AirPlay or other streaming mechanisms to wirelessly share your content. And they've made it really easy to actually integrate into third-party control systems. So we work closely with RTI to do the first driver, which is Control 4. And we've got others coming after that, where we can now allow these home automation platforms to do the Resimercial integration, where they can get into a boardroom space or a huddle space or meeting space. And all of a sudden, chuck in a touchscreen, put in a few lights, mount a TV, mount this RTI intelligent bar. And all of a sudden, you've got a BYO meeting solution where, a user can come up, connect their laptop, utilize, their favorite, meeting software, whether it be Zoom or Teams or Meet or whatever. And then they can utilize the touchscreen to do things like, I want to control the mic, mute the mic, unmute the mic, control the volume of the soundbar, control the camera, whether it be, fixating on the presenter or the speaker or whatever it may be.
Huh.
So that was a really fun project to work on because it was quite different from all the other projects we worked on. It was quite easy to integrate as well. And the user interface that we designed, it was challenging because we had to work within the confines of a system which was not designed for this type of space. And I think we did quite well in representing the user interface to work in this kind of manner.
Yeah.
So check it out. If anyone is interested in I guess, selling into a boardroom solution, definitely check out the RTI soundbar and, either use RTI when they've got obviously their native driver or come to us for, the other drivers for all the other systems.
Yeah, I've seen a number of different products like this. This almost looks like does it stand alone too? Like, could it just be on a desk or, so like, that's really awesome. Like you can just use it standalone. And then if you want to build onto it, you can build onto it with RTI or Control 4 or add a touchscreen. Yeah, that's really cool.
Man, I haven't used RTI in like 8 or 9 years at this point. Just hasn't been my thing up here. But I would have never thought that RTI would release this soundbar here. This looks pretty nice, honestly.
It's got all the features.
It does. Yeah. But what's interesting is that all the home automation brands are starting to work with each other. So you'll find that the guys at RTI would integrate their products into other control systems. Same for the guys at URC. So we work with URC to integrate their range of distributed audio systems. So we did that. And you look at the guys at Snap, and we recently released the Luma integrations for nice home management, for example, and for Crestron Home, along with the Wattbox range. So there's a lot of crossover between manufacturers who before would just work within their own control system. So these products are for us only. But now everyone wants to work with each other. So that's what I've found changed over the past few years. Especially, I think it changed in roughly COVID time.
Yeah.
And I think the change that caused it was when Crestron was not able to supply hardware. Mm-hmm. So that kind of forced the market to kind of work with each other, I think.
Yeah, that's good. I mean, because I know Crestron had a huge issue with hardware during the pandemic there, and it is good to see everybody working together because I just think it creates more competition as well. Just more products out there for everybody to use.
Well, competition and innovation, like you get something like this. I mean, I'm looking at all the features this has on it, and I've seen bars like similar to this that exist already in the marketplace, right? But this one's got the face tracking. This one's got the beamforming microphones. It's got all of the little features that were in different versions of the ones that I've seen in the past. So yeah, that's a really cool piece.
Yeah, it's bang for buck as well. So
yeah,
really good.
Very nice. All right, well, that's going to wrap up our time, Alan. If anybody is interested in checking out the new Chowmain marketplace, where would you point them to, and how would they get in touch with you?
Yeah, the best thing to do is just to visit our website, www.chowmainsoft.com. So integrators can sign up to our website. It is a manual process, so it might take us a day or two to verify that you are a dealer of that particular control system that you work with. But as part of that, dealers get a free showroom license, which means that you guys can demonstrate our drivers without paying a penny. And all of our drivers come with a 90-day trial. So you don't even need to log in to download our drivers and have the trial start up. So the idea is that within that 90 days, the integrator can get used to the drivers, the homeowner can decide whether or not that driver's for them, and try before you buy. So, which is great. So just reach out via our website. We do have a promo code, welcome, which they can use to get 25% off. And that promo code will go from now until early October.
Awesome.
Excellent.
Well, Alan, thanks so much for your time. I appreciate you waking up early. I guess it's not too early, but I appreciate you coming on this morning and chatting with us.
Thanks, guys. Good to be on.
All right, we got a mailbag this week. We've got Don in Arkansas. He sent us a couple messages here. He said, thinking it was TJ talking about getting a USB pigtail to power a motion sensor or something. He says, below is a shopping list of what I got to power all my sensors in the house. He said he mounted it in a wall panel in the garage and ran cables from the power supply out to each sensor, like TJ mentioned. He says it works great. And he noticed the power supply wasn't available currently in any 24 DC volt power supply should work. He sent a couple links from, over at Amazon for a power supply, some distribution fuses, USB, and some plugs to use. So looks pretty cool. And we'll put the links to all that stuff in the show notes. If you are interested in powering, some like these sensors and that use the USB-C cable, like TJ was talking about, this might be a good way to go. And he also goes on, he says, several times TJ has mentioned using a Hue sensor to turn on a closet light. And he said, below is a link to a switch that he found he uses for all of his closets. Those that had switches, he took out and a couple had no power. So he ran power to them and because you need the 3 wires for these, right? He said they work really good. And so another link for Amazon here. It's called a functional devices closet light switch. Some little handy tips from Don there in Arkansas. Thanks, Don.
Yeah, I thought about using the little USB or the little closet switch, but I have a pocket door, and it would have been a lot more difficult to do the pocket door sensor instead.
Mm-hmm.
But it's definitely a good idea for an area where you don't need automation, right? Because using a motion sensor to like control a Philips Hue light is way more advanced than most people need for a closet kind of space. So it's nice that those simpler automations exist. And another thing too, so for the USB thing, I'm going to use it for, I think my cameras mainly. Maybe I'll throw some FP2 cameras in there, or power as well for there. But I want to be able to turn on and off the cameras. And so what I've been looking at is either just doing a controlled power strip, or Nice, formerly Elan, makes a USB controllable hub, I guess. I don't know. It's got like 8 or 12 USB ports on there, USB-A, and you can individually control them, kind of like a watt box or surge protector or whatever. And it's only like a couple $100 my cost. So I think I'm going to do that. And so that way I can turn the cameras on and off whenever I leave. If I was just doing like a regular sensors and stuff like that, that power supply would work great, because then you could just chain multiple together and you don't have to worry about it.
You could also do like a Shelly relay or something like that to run the power in and out of if you wanted to. Just, trying to add up the cost for you. I'm not trying to save you any money.
No, we don't want to save money here. We want to make it the most complicated too.
I remember when we were talking about this stuff, and I would so love to do this in my house to get rid of a lot of those dongles, USB dongles, especially because millimeter wave requires like power.
Mm-hmm.
There's no battery version of it. But the problem I have is running all these wires from a place. I'd have to bring in somebody to do it for me. I will not go up in my attic, but I would love to do this.
Well, if I type in nice USB-C, no, that's not going to give me anything.
It's not USB-C, it's USB-A.
Oh, USB-A.
Yeah. Come on.
You can't have everything.
Evidently, you can't have SEO either if your company's name is Nice.
Yeah, that's what I hate about the name. You can never look anything up again. It's so aggravating.
I'm getting all these review sites about nice USB-A power strips.
Yeah. Does it do USB like data pass through? Like,
I don't know when you would be able to pass the data to, though, Gavin. Like,
no, like if I'm powering a USB stick somewhere and I want to power cycle it, right?
Yeah.
Then it would be nice.
Yeah. So you would be able to do that, yes.
So I can like
it's controllable.
It's controllable, yeah, but also it would be plugged into my server, so it's also doing data.
Yeah, he needs
as
to pass
if it's
the data
plugged
back.
into the box, you know.
Yeah, you're not gonna be able to do data with this.
Yeah, I don't think there's a.
This is just the power.
Yeah.
Power
Is this
supply.
a picture of the front and the back?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
rack mount.
Yeah.
It's nice.
So it's just power. What's the Ethernet
Yeah.
for though?
For control, though, so you can control the ports.
Oh, LAN control. Yeah.
Yeah, this is what I thought about getting and just wiring everything to that.
Well, it's nice too because it's got it's not just the USB things. It's got also has the like I don't know, Phoenix connector things for 12 volt and 5 volt. So like if you have
Mhm.
I don't know, equipment that's 5 volt DC, a lot of the what is it, the like HDMI related like balance and products can be related, have a 5 volt rail on them. And then for 12 volt, I mean that's a lot of stuff too. So like if you needed to control a 12 volt circuit, you could put it on there too. It looks like they have a max output of 12.5 amps on 12 volts and 26 on 5 volts. So you kind of have to watch the power requirements, but it would, like if you had little hubs or modems or dongles that were powered by 12 or 5 volts, it might be something you could use. It's kind of nice.
Yeah.
I like it.
I want it.
It'd be easier to find product like this if they hadn't have that kind of nice all of it. But.
Stupid.
All right. Well, pick of the week, I would make it that, but I wouldn't be able to find it. But I do have a nice picture that Gavin found about YAML. We had a small YAML conversation with Alan after we did the interview, and evidently he's a YAML fan. At least the company Chowmain is, and I'm not. But there's a little comic here. It's a standard 3-panel comic, and it's got the devil standing behind God. It looks like he says, "Oh, come on, just let me create one thing." And then it looks like God says, "Okay, you can do it fine." And the devil says, "Jackpot." And the next thing is a YAML logo, which is beautiful. This is great. I love it, Gavin. Thank you so much.
I know how much you love YAML. I thought of you when I saw this.
Yeah, well, thank you. This is great. I gotta print it out and put it behind me somewhere or something. It's too good. Too good. All right. Well, if you have any feedback, comments, questions, picks of the week, or great ideas for a show, give us a shout. Email address is feedback@hometech.fm, or you can visit hometech.fm/feedback and fill out the online form. All right. Project updates. I have a flooded car that smells. So my project has been trying to find a new car, and that sucks. Car buying sucks. I don't. This car's had one foot in the grave for like 2 years now, and then now it smells again. I'm like, nope, you're dead. You're dead to me. Go away. So that's my project for maybe this week and last week, and still trying to wrap up on like finishing out that install that got hit by lightning. So I'll finish that up this weekend, and I've been busy. That's been keeping me busy. Between that, wrapping up for CEDIA, finishing off my projects for work, I haven't had much time to do anything fun other than replace a Tempest on a 6-foot or 10-foot pole in my backyard. What you guys been up to? Gavin, what is this? What is this ordered?
I had to spend some more money. So
What? You're buying more stuff?
Hold on.
Does the wife know?
Well, no, but she knows. By the time this show is published, my old Prusa printer will have been sold. He came over Thursday to pick it up. So, she's happy to see that one leave. But Prusa did announce the MK4S this week. And, knowing me, I had to look into it, and I ordered the upgrade for mine. So the thing I like about Prusa is when they do these type of things, they always offer you upgrade kits. So you could go as far back as like the 3.3 or the MK3S or something like that. And you can upgrade it. They'll send you all the parts and you pay less money and you can upgrade it to the latest printer and be happy, right? So the S is just an incremental update to my MK4. It pretty much offers faster printing speeds up to 20% more. And better cooling around the nozzle, so you get more better, cleaner prints. So, and there's a few other things in there too that are things that they're planning to implement later on. I don't know. They're looking, they give like an add-on to the buddy board where you can control relays and stuff like that. So they're looking like to see what people are going to do with this type of thing. They're expanding it. So it'll be interesting. I did order all that stuff. The upgrade for the MK4 to MK4S is only $99.
Oh, that's a no-brainer, Gavin.
That's not bad. Yeah.
So, I mean,
get two of them.
Yeah. Well, then I'd have to buy another printer to upgrade.
Oh, that's where I thought this was going to go. I thought you were going to have a rotation of two printers, and your wife was like, well, why do you have two printers, Gavin? I thought you sold one. He was like, well, he just fell through. I don't know. And you're just going to rotate them out. Like, you'll have the best and you'll have the next best. And then like somebody at work will buy that one and you'll just keep rotating them out.
Listen, I know how often I can push my luck. So I got to go on a break for a little bit now, and then I can try push my luck. I usually wait till after Christmas to push my luck again because I don't want to jeopardize any gifts. So I know how to work the system. But yeah, they just released that this week and I'm looking forward, but it's not shipping till like September. And knowing my luck, I'm going to be away on vacation. It's going to come in and, I'll have to wait. But yep, that was some exciting news this week from Prusa.
Fun. Well, yeah, $100 isn't bad.
No. Yeah. For a speed increase and some future updates, they released a new app too. So using your phone now, you can connect and control your printer. So that's pretty cool too. They're making some big moves.
Very nice. Very nice.
Yep. And then when it comes to my projects this week, I was sharing pictures with Richard Gunther of my 3D filament rack. I realized I have an issue with this 3D printer. I have a lot of filament. It was starting to add up. I was starting to lose track of it. This is a typical owner of a 3D printer. These are the problems we deal with. So, I inventoried all my filament and I needed to place them nicely somewhere visually. And I have an closet in my office and I was like, hey, I'm not hanging anything on this. So I found a design for like a hanging filament rack and I kind of remixed it so it's modular now and I can make multi-levels and stuff. So now I have 3 layers of filament and all sorted by color and properly labeled, and I know how much I have and everything like that. So, that was one thing. You can find those things on printables. So I didn't have to do any drilling or mounting or anything like that. It hangs all from the coat bar.
I used to joke, and it's still a joke because it's still kind of funny, but like you would buy the 3D printer and then you would print a new 3D printer and then you return the first 3D printer. And like, I think that's not the joke. The joke is like you buy the 3D printer and then all you do is print accessories for the 3D printer.
It's true. It's true. It is true. Though I have been doing a lot of other like, prints for like friends and stuff. So recently one of my friends, their dog passed away and I did a design I took a picture of his dog and I did a hue forge in a 3D printer. So it's kind of like textured and everything.
It's like an etching thing. It looks really good.
Yeah. It came out really nice. And I, printed a stand for it so he could stand it somewhere and I'm going to give it to him. But it's also one of those little gifts that I know he doesn't have something like this. It's an original, like it will stand out and everyone's going to ask him about it and where he got it from. And, he's going to like it. And that's, at the end of the day, it's like, it was all for that, So I'm doing a lot of other prints, but it's just going 24 hours. I just throw a print at it and let it go and it goes.
You're making all those valve stems. I know that's where you've gone.
Oh yeah, the valve stems for the neighbor's cars. Every time he takes one off, I put a new one back on. I just change the tire so he doesn't notice.
What a terrible person!
But it's too much fun. And then the other thing I was playing around with this week. So I have a guest network in my house, like I'm sure most of us do, right? My people come in my house and they can have a QR code. They scan it, throws them on a guest network. They don't know the password or anything like that, but I wanted to be able to AirPlay and even print from the guest network, using Unify. I don't know if you guys have ever done something like that. But I was able to figure it out. And in the unified guest network on the landing page, what do they call it? The hotspot page or something like that?
Yeah, hotspot manager.
Even if you, in the hotspot manager, even if you don't have the hotspot enabled, there's some settings there. And in those settings, you can actually turn on, what they'll have access to on your main network by IP address. You can put in IP addresses.
I should get like whitelist a device. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So I whitelisted like my AirPlay speakers and stuff like that. Right. And now when my guests are over,
I thought this was for your neighbor's house that you wanted, now that he cut you off for printing in the middle of the night. You're like, I'll just enable it on the guest network.
But no, I didn't. I solved this problem. Now when we have guests over, they can AirPlay to the TV or, music and stuff like that. And I don't have to put them on the primary network, and that's pretty much what they usually, when they come over, they want to either AirPlay or print something, right?
Yeah, yeah.
And I always hate it. It's like, I got to switch your network. And then you got to get in there and put them on the network. And I don't like leaving people on that network. Right. So now I get through with the AirPlay and the print. So if you're ever thinking about it, it can be done.
Nice. Good tip.
That sums up my week. It was a slow week, I know.
Yeah, slow week over here too. I think this weekend though, I'm gonna pick back up on the electrical upgrades. So doing some more of that. Yeah,
I have to upgrade my panel in general, and I want to upgrade it to a 200 amp panel, right? Just to future proof it. But I think that's going to be a next year project. I'm going to save some money for that.
It costs a lot.
Yeah, but my panel is really old and it has sub panels and, stuff like that. So I want to get it all cleaned up and then put some monitoring and things in there too.
Very cool. Yeah, that's a big project. We'll have to schedule the podcast around those days because if you were out without electricity,
it'll take a day. It'll take about a day. They come in the morning. It all depends on the city because you have to schedule the city to come in and cut the power,
right?
And then when it's all done, turn back on the power. So hopefully, it will just be a day project.
Very cool. All right. I think it's going to wrap up this week. We do want to give a big thank you to everyone who supports the show, but especially those who are able to financially support the show through our Patreon page. If you don't know about the Patreon page, head on over to HomeTech.fm/support to learn how you can support HomeTech for as little as $1 a month. Any pledge over $5 a month gets you a big shout out here on the show, but every single pledge gets you an automated robotic invite over to the Slack chat, the hub, where you can go in there and look at who was this that posted the Northern Lights? This is really cool. Like, I wish I could see these at my house, but obviously Florida.
Yeah, right.
You can see him. Kenny Murphy posted Northern Light pictures, and man, it's beautiful. Like,
I'm really close to the north down there, so.
I mean, I know where it is, but it's not here.
Yeah, but even better than that picture was your comment underneath it. Govey is just getting ridiculous now.
No, that was a good one.
Yeah, I have to give you that one, Seth.
I was really impressed by the picture, but then I was actually dealing with my Govey return at the same time. So it's just like two things lined up, and anyway, go check it out if you're in the hub. It's a really nice picture. And if you're outside and up north, go check out the Northern Lights because that's pretty cool. If you want to help out the show but can't support financially, totally understand. Just appreciate a 5-star review on iTunes or a positive rating in the podcast app of your choice to help other people find the show. That's going to wrap up the news here on HomeTech this week. Everybody have a great weekend, and we will see you next week.
Till next time.
Take care.